it's Kev from the Tiki Nation. In today's lesson, we are going to learn a fantastic song by Roy Orbison called Pretty Woman. Classic, iconic rock and roll tune. Before we start, I just wanted to give a quick message to you newbies. I am playing a ukulele strung with a low G, meaning I have a lower string on the fourth string closest to your nose, and many of you may have a high G, so it's going to sound a little different. That's a high G, this is a low G. You can do this whole lesson on either ukulele, so you're good to go. Start learning. This is a really fun song to play. It's kind of a classic old rock and roll era tune, and it's got some really fun strumming parts that are different throughout the song, and it's got the iconic Roy Orbison lead solo that goes like this, which also serves as the introduction. So let's learn the solo part first, and we're going to learn it by doing a really easy exercise, and by the end of that you should totally have this little solo introduction down. It's going to be fun. Let's do it. Let's do a really fun exercise that will help us do a classic, iconic rock and roll intro. So what we're going to do first is we're going to learn how to move from one place where the solo is played to another. This solo is played in two places on the fretboard, or two positions on the neck. So we're going to go to the first string, the one closest to your toes, and we're going to play the second fret. We're going to fret the second fret with our index finger. That's second position on the ukulele, and we're going to move from second position up to the fifth fret. Now most ukuleles have a little dot on the fifth fret, a position marker or a courtesy dot. So here's a little secret trick. When you're going from second position to fifth position, you don't want to overshoot it. You want to develop your muscle memory to get right there without looking. But until you get that muscle memory down, what you do is you play the second fret, you look right at your ukulele, you look right at the dot on the fifth fret, and you move your hand up. If you're staring at the dot, your brain will recognize that space, and it will create muscle memory when you move your hand. So you'll start getting that muscle memory. You'll make neural pathways in your brain that recognize that distance. So that's something you can practice on your own. Just sit there and go second fret, look at the fifth fret, move up. Once you know how to move from the second position to the fifth position, we're ready to start doing the actual lick. So we're going to base this lick off an E chord, or actually a variation of the E chord. So if we made a textbook E chord like it's done in chord books, you would have 3 fingers on the fourth fret and 1 on the second fret. So it'd be middle, ring, pinky on the fourth fret, and your index on the second fret of the number 1 string. That's super hard to play, especially if you have big fingers or a small ukulele or both. So what we're going to do is modify that chord shape, and all we're going to do is we're going to lift up Stinky the Pinky, and then we're going to move these 2 fingers, your middle and your ring finger, over. So now we have a modified E chord using 3 notes, and we're going to use the second fret of string number 1 with our index, 4th fret of string number 2 with our ring finger, and our middle finger is going to go right in front of that one, 4th fret of the C string. Now we have our chord shape and our positions. So I'm going to call off the notes we're going to play by the string. So the string closest to your feet, closest to your toes, is string number 1. And then it goes 1, 2, 3. We're going to only use those strings. So we're going to start on string number 3, the C string, and we're going to hit it twice. Then we're going to go to string number 2, and then string number 1. And then we're going to go to 5th position with our index. Let's try that again. Make the modified E chord, and then I'm going to call it off by the strings. So string 3 twice, string 2, string 1, move up to the 5th fret and play string 1 again. Let's try that nice and slow. Let's do it 3 times. Here we go. Now that we can do this, based off our modified E chord, let's extend it out and do the rest of the lick in 5th position. So we're going to add this. So let's do a little exercise to get the notes from the 5th position down. So do this part. We're going to start on that note, 5th fret with the index finger. Now we're going to stretch, and you're going to use our pinky, and it's going to reach up to the 9th fret. Then we're going to use our ring finger on the 7th fret and our index on the 5th fret. Now, best practice for this, if you want to become awesome and not stay at mediocre, is you're going to keep your index pressed down the entire time, like it's glued there. And you're going to play that, keeping it pressed down. Reach up to 9 with your pinky, 7 with your ring finger, and then lift up your ring finger, and your index is already pushed down, and you play that 5th fret. So try that 3 times in a row. So you're going to go 5, pinky 9, ring 7, 5, again. Index, pinky, ring, index. Now that you have that little part down, we can do the entire lick and the entire solo. So the way the solo works is the first 2 times in the introduction it goes, it repeats that. And then it, for 4 times, it does the whole thing, and it goes. And then it starts, pretty woman. So let's play that whole lick, that whole intro solo, and we'll do it super slow 1 time. Okay? So we're going to start with the 2 short licks. Make your modified E. Here we go. And that is the entire solo and the intro. Now for the rest of the song, it just does the full for all the rest of the song. In the introduction of the song, it does 2 of these in the beginning. And then it goes into the other part. think we got it. Now that we have our intro down, we need to learn how to get the chords for the verse and put them in the right place and the strums that are happening during the verse. So a little caveat here, nobody, and I mean nobody, has that silky golden voice like Roy Orbison. And I certainly don't. Also, this is way out of my key. But because I love you, I'm going to try and comp all these words in for you so you can learn this song, because it's totally worth it, even though it's not going to be easy for me. Our first two chords in the first verse are A and F sharp minor. F sharp minor is really easy to play. It's just like an A chord, you just add one finger. Looks like the shape of a G7. Remember when you used to play your G7 in the wrong place? Use those skills now. You can play F sharp minor already. We're going to have to learn how to play a D and an E chord, but we're going to use the cheater D and the cheater E. The rock and roll D, you just whap your finger over the second fret and play the top strings closest to your nose. Strings 3, 4, 3, and 2. And then we're going to move that up 2 frets for E. Those are all our chords. So now let's learn kind of how they go into the song. So we start with the A chord. Pretty woman, walking F sharp minor, down the street. Then it repeats those two chords again. Pretty woman, the kind I'd like to meet. And then we go to our rock and roll D. Pretty woman, I don't believe that you're not the truth. And that stays on E for quite a while. Now that we kind of know where those chords fall, let's learn how to put the strumming patterns that go with those chords. So we have two basic techniques that we're going to do in verse number 1. So for the A and the F sharp minor, we're going to play this strum. And this is how we play that. Make an A chord. You're going to grab strings 4, 3, and 2, the strings closest to your nose, the top 3. You're going to grab them using your thumb, your index, and your middle finger. Place them on the strings, squeeze together, and just lift straight up. Then you're going to go down, up, down. So we're going to pull the chord, squeeze them together, and pull, down, up, down, pull, down, up, down. That's it. Again, pull, down, up, down. Which fingers am I strumming with on my right hand? I pull, I use my finger and my claw. Pull, then I go down. I can use 1 or 3 fingers. When I go up, I always use 1 finger up. Otherwise, your fingers get tangled into the string. So always use 1 when you're doing an upstroke. Up, and you just flick it up a couple of times, and then down with 3. Down, strum, up, down. That's for the A chord. Pretty woman, walking down the street. Pretty woman, the kind I'd like to meet. Pretty woman. Now we get to our D chord, and we're going to do something completely different on D. We're going to do a pulse. So a pulse will go like this. And when you do the pulse, you could think of it kind of like a duck. Like if you had a little duck beak here, quack, 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 quack. And every time the duck quacks, when the beak closes, you're strumming. Quack. And the duck opens his beak, right? Quack, 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 quack. I quacked myself up. So there's your little duck beak. Now, when you're forming your bar chord D across the 2nd fret, you want to hold it on the back of your neck, like pretend like you're using a remote control. You know, like you're changing channels. Don't like it, 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 don't like it. That's your remote control, right? You already have those muscles built. Big time. Because you use them all the time. So pretend like the back of your neck is a remote and you're holding your remote up in the air like this. All right? Put your thumb on the back of the neck like it's a remote control, and then that will give you the pressure that you need to get the top 3 strings. Now you're going to squeeze like the duck, and you're going to hit with 3 fingers down on the top 3 strings. And you're going to go quack, quack, quack. So when the duck quacks, quack, it releases the speak. Quack, quack, right? Quack, quack, quack. So we're going to call that a pulse. And that pulse is going to happen 6 times on the D chord, and then it's going to move up 2 frets, and that gives us an E chord, and we're going to quack on that 2 frets for 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it actually goes much longer than that, but we're just going to do 8 beats for now. So let's try that. We're going to do our strum on the A and the F sharp minor, and that happens twice, and then we're going to go to our pulse for the D and the E. So starting on the A chord, we're going to do pull, down, up, up, downs. Here we go. Pretty woman walking down the street, pretty woman, the kind I'd like to meet, pretty woman, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Believe you're not the truth. No one could look as good as you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And from that point it goes into our intro lick again. Mercy. So from there we have that little intro lick bridge, and on the second time we do that's when he yells out mercy while he's doing the lick. Mercy! And then he does it 2 more times. The second verse is just like the first. Same chord, same strum, different words. What changes is the little instrumental part after the second verse has a little variation in it. Now, you could just play the E and play it exactly like you did it the first time, just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. But it's going to change up a little bit the second time. The first time we did it, we did that mercy, right? We do that 4 times the first time, and we use the word mercy on the second time. And then when we do it the next time, we're going to go, rrr. That's a classic Orbison thing, right? So you do that lick, you go the first time. Then you, right after the first time, you go, brrr. Then you do it a third time. Then the fourth time, you go, you only do that much of it, and then you go, and that leads us into the next verse. So what did I do there? I played a D suspended second chord twice and then a D minor. So it's very easy. It sounds hard, but make a D minor chord and just lift up your finger, your index finger. That's D suspended second. You're going to strum down twice, and then put your finger down like a D minor chord and end on D minor. So now that you know that, I'll play it one more time. And this time I'll just pulse it in case you can't do the part yet, which is totally fine. You can just do the pulse if you're not ready to do that yet, but you will be ready to do it. So you're going to count that second instrumental break like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then you're going to go 2, 3, 4. And that's all you have to do. Sus, sus, minor chord. And that leads us directly into the next part. I'm going to play through it one more time for you. And I'm going to play the second verse. And I'm going to play the instrumental lick that alters slightly going into the B part, so you understand how it all fits together. Now I'll break it down slow for you. So starting on the A chord, pretty woman, up, up, down, won't you pardon me, up, down, Pretty, pull, down, up, woman, I couldn't help but see. Pretty, now we pulse on the D. Woman, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6 is when you start the words. That you look as lovely as can be. Are you lonely just like me? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we start our lick. Once. Second time we roar. Third time. Fourth time we cut it short. And we sus minor. Bam! That leads us into the B section, which we're going to cover next. Has a fun strum. You're going to really love it. I can't wait to show you. Before we learn the cool picking pattern that goes with the B section, let's break it down with simple chords so you can have a fallback to play it. Here we go. Starting on a D minor. Pretty woman, G chord. Stop a while, C chord. Pretty woman, A minor chord. Talk a while, D minor chord. Pretty woman, G chord, give your love to C chord, me. One more C chord. Starts it back at D minor. Pretty woman, G chord, yeah, yeah, yeah. C chord. Pretty woman, A minor, look my way. D minor. Pretty woman, G chord, say you'll stay with me. A chord on the end, A major. That is all the chords for the B section. All right, let's get hopping on how we can put a picking pattern in there. So we want to add a little technique underneath those chords to kind of help support the vocalist. So we might do something like this. Stop a while, pretty woman, talk a while, pretty woman, give your smile to me. You get the idea. So let's break that down technique by technique so you understand what I'm doing. Now it's time to learn a brand new strum with a bunch of fun techniques in it. So this strum is going to be broken down into 3 different techniques. So let me demonstrate how it is, and it's going to be like this on every chord, the same 3 techniques, but we have to understand how it's broken up and how to do it properly. First, we're going to do this. Demonstrate how it's played. Okay, so there was a lot going on there. So let's break down the 3 techniques one at a time. The first technique I call the pull. Make a D minor chord. Grab the strings closest to your nose, strings 4, 3, and 2, and you're going to use your thumb and your 2 index and your middle fingers like your claw. Claw. So put your thumb on the string, then use your claw fingers. You're going to grab those top 3 strings, pushing down on your thumb and up with your index and your middle finger. You're going to pull them. That's technique 1 that goes into this strum. That's all you have to do. We're going to do that on every chord. D minor, G, C, A minor, D minor, G, C, A. That's the first part. make a D minor chord again. We're going to learn the second technique in this strum, which is called a rasgueado. Rasgueado is a flamenco term for flamenco guitar, and what it means is the fan. So we're going to do a very simple variation on the true rasgueado. The true rasgueado is 5 strums in one beat, like this. That was 5 strums. You couldn't hear them because they were so fast, but that was 5 times I strummed in 1 second. You don't have to do that fast. That's craziness. We want to hear the sound of the rasgueado. We want it to sound more harp-like, so we're going to slow it way down. So make your D minor, and you're going to take your fingers and you're going to start with your ring finger on your right hand, and you're going to let it hit the string first and push it out. And then push the second one out, and then push your index finger out. So it's 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now, this is difficult to do. If you can't do it, you just have to practice it. And how do you practice it? You put your finger on your knee, and you put your thumb there, and you go 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. When you're driving around, but don't get in an accident. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That's how you practice that. Put your thumb on the string, and you hold it there, and you go 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That builds your muscles for the rasgueado. And then after a while, you'll be able to go 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That's how you train for that. If you can't do it, just simply angle your finger down like this, so it goes down across the strings at a longer distance, so it's not straight across. That'll spread the sound out a little bit, and you can do it that way as well. Or you can just try and do a 2-finger fan. So you start with your middle finger, and your middle finger hits the string first, and then your index finger follows right behind it. Middle index. That is technique number 2. I'm going to put technique number 1, the pull, with that. So I'm going to go pull, 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 fan, rasgueado, sort of. Okay, so now we're going to add the third technique, which is the picking aspect of it. For the picking aspect, we're going to be picking strings 1, 2, 3, and 4 sequentially. But if you don't do it with the right fingers, it's not going to work as easily for you. So let's make a D minor chord again. And when we do picking like this, when you bring your fingers up to touch a string, almost always the middle finger is in charge of that string. So we're going to start on string 1 with our middle finger. Then string number 2, we're going to use our index finger. And then we're going to drag our index finger over to the next string and hit it. And then come down with our thumb on the 4th string. So we have this. Middle, index, index, thumb. Middle, index, index, thumb downward. Up, 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 down. Now we're going to combine our 3 techniques to make this one awesome strum and picking hybrid combination. So, D minor chord, pull, rasgueado or fan, then our picking. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to run through the chords in this progression really slowly, doing those 3 combined techniques. Here we go. D minor. there you have a fun hybrid picking technique. Logically, after the B part comes the C part. We're almost there. We just have to do this little part. You know all the chords already, and you know all the strums for this part. And then we have an outro. So let's break down this little section in its simplest form with just one chord strums and placing the vocals where they go. So it's going to start with a couple of words and an F sharp minor chord. So make an F sharp to start with. We're going to say 'cause I, and then we'll do our first strum on F sharp minor. 'Cause I need you. Make a D minor chord. I'll treat you. Go to E chord right. And then you go to an A chord. Come with me. F sharp minor. Baby. D minor. Be mine too. And then on the E chord, he does this vocal thing where he extends the word night out, and it gets higher and higher, and you just pulse on that part. And underneath that vocal climb, you're doing all right, we've got that now, so let's add the strum into that. So we're going to do the same exact strum that we did in verse number 1, which was the pull, down, up, down strum. So let's do that, starting on F sharp minor. 'Cause I need you, I'll treat you right, up, down, A. Come with me, baby, be mine tonight. And again, it's going underneath there, you're playing the lick, and then it goes right to the A chord again. Pretty woman, don't you walk on by. Pretty woman, don't you make me cry. And then we pulse on the D again. Pretty woman, don't walk away. Hey! And from there, it pulses on the E chord, and we're going to cover that part next. Throughout this song, Roy Orbison is telling a story, and he's trying to catch the eye of a pretty woman. And in the end of the story, he does this ad-lib, and most of the outro is just hitting that E chord, pulsing on the E chord, and then he ad-libs the story to the end of the song. So it goes something like this, starting from the pretty woman part, going into the outro. Pretty woman, won't you walk on by. Pretty woman, won't you make me cry. Pretty woman, don't walk away. Hey, okay, if that's the way it must be, okay, I guess I'll go home. It's late, there'll be tomorrow night, but wait. And on the word wait, you just hit it, you nail it. The drums or the clapping keeps going. Boom, 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 boom. And then the vocals start up again. What do I see? And then right after that, the lick starts up from the beginning. And we do the first part of the lick twice. Is she walking back to me? And then that lick plays 10 times. And then underneath that he's going, yeah, she's walking back to me. Oh, oh, pretty woman. And you end on the A chord, woman. 2 fast A's. Can do downstrokes or down up, either way. And that's the end of the tune. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I'm Kev from the Tiki Nation. There's a lot of moving parts in that song, so just play it back, learn all the parts, get it down. You're going to love playing that song. It is a super great one to play at ukulele jams and with your friends, and will keep the memory of Roy Orbison alive. He was one of the greats. I'll see you in the next lesson.